Hey there, loves. Welcome to Life's Just Cray. I'm Cate, and this is where we talk through real life situations that have you up until 2 a.m. talking with your bestie, like, okay, but what would you do though? Real situations, real talk, no fluff. My grandma always used to say that you could lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And that's exactly how I move on this show. Everything I say comes from my own experience or my own thoughts. I'm not a professional, and I'm not here to tell you what to do. However, it might just help. So today, we're talking about a friendship that looks completely fine from the outside and is quietly draining the life out of you from the inside. And I already know you have someone in mind.
I have a best friend of 9 years who I'm starting to think might not actually be my friend at all. That sentence took me a long time to be able to say out loud, even to myself, and I still feel guilty about it every time I do. On the surface, she's the kind of friend that looks incredible from the outside. She shows up for the big moments. She remembers important dates. She can be genuinely warm and funny, and the kind of person you want in your corner when something goes wrong. And for a long time, I focused on those things and told myself that the other stuff was just part of loving a complicated person. But the other stuff has been adding up for years, and I can no longer pretend that I am not keeping a running tab of it. Somewhere in the back of my mind, she competes with me in ways she never acknowledges. When something good happens in my life, there is always a beat before her excitement that feels like she is recalibrating. When I share something vulnerable, she has a way of redirecting the conversation back to herself within minutes. When we disagree about something, she has a way of making me feel like the unreasonable one, even when I know I am not. She has made comments about my appearance, my choices, my relationship, and my career that she always frames as honesty, but land as something closer to criticism dressed up in concern. The worst part is that when things are good between us, they are genuinely good. Good enough that I keep coming back. Good enough that I keep telling myself I am overreacting or being too sensitive, or that the version of her that shows up in the good moments is the real one and everything else is just her having a hard time. But I am tired. I am tired in a way that I only feel after I've spent time with her. And I have started to notice that I feel lighter when she is not around, and that realization has made me feel like the worst person in the world. How do you walk away from a friendship that has real history and real good moments when you can no longer ignore what it is actually costing you?
Before you start mentally drafting a goodbye letter to this friendship, I want you to slow down. Because I don't think that is actually what needs to happen here. 9 years isn't nothing. 9 years of real history and real good moments, and someone who shows up for the big things does not just get written off because you finally got honest enough with yourself to name what's been bothering you. That kind of honesty deserves to be taken seriously. But it deserves to be taken seriously in a conversation with her first, before it becomes a decision made without her. You've been carrying this observation quietly for a long time. She deserves the chance to respond to it before you make any permanent moves. Here's something I want you to genuinely consider though, before you do anything else. Do you actually know what's going on inside her head? Because here's one thing that I've learned about people over the years. You truly never know what another person is carrying inside their own brain, or how they experience the world from the inside. The competing, the redirecting, the comments that land sideways. Is it possible that she has absolutely no idea she does any of it? Not as an excuse, and not as a pass for behavior that's genuinely hurt you and made you feel small, but as a real and honest possibility worth sitting with before you blow up 9 years of friendship over something that's never actually been said out loud between the two of you. We spend so much time analyzing the people closest to us from the outside without ever considering that they might completely be blind to the very things that we can see so clearly. And I want to touch on something briefly because I think it's worth naming even if we don't sit in it for too long. Some of what you're describing, the redirecting in emotional conversations, the difficulty being fully present in someone else's moment, or the competing without seeming to realize it's happening. These are things that can show up in people whose brains are simply wired differently than what we consider typical. And I'm not saying that gives anyone a free pass to dismiss your feelings or make you feel like a supporting character in your own friendship on a regular basis, because it absolutely doesn't. But it does mean that your friend may genuinely not see herself in the way that you're currently seeing her, especially if she didn't grow up with siblings, or especially if she spent most of her life surrounded by people who never pushed back or told her honestly how she comes across. When you don't have early feedback, it's incredibly easy to move throughout the world completely unaware of the impact that you're having on the others around you. That mirror is you, and you've never actually had that conversation with her. So here's what I want you to do. Before you decide anything about where this friendship goes, I want you to have this conversation. Not a passive-aggressive check-in disguised as catching up, and not a text message that can be misread or deflected, because emotion can't be felt through a text. It can only be heard through your voice. A real sit-down is where you tell her clearly and with genuine warmth what you've been experiencing and how it's been landing on you. Not as a listing of everything she's done wrong, and not as an ambush either, but as someone who loves her enough to be honest with her because you value what you've built together more than you value avoiding a uncomfortable afternoon. Tell her what you told me, that the good moments are real and that they matter and that this friendship has meant something to you. And then tell her what has been hard. Give her the full picture. She may hear it in a way that she's never been able to hear it from anyone else precisely, because you're the person that she trusts the most in the world. People receive hard truths differently depending on who's delivering it to them. Coming from you, this might land in a way that nothing else ever has. And if she receives it and something shifts between you two, then you have just done something genuinely rare, which is save a long friendship by being brave enough to be honest before it was too late. And if she cannot receive it, if she deflects and turns it around and makes you the problem and nothing changes, then you will have the information that you need to make a different decision with a clear conscience. But give her the chance first. The friendship may not be over. It may just be waiting for a conversation it has never had. Alrighty, loves. That's all I've got for you today, and you already know where to find me. Slide into the DMs with your situation, and you might just hear it on the next episode. And if this one hit home for you, share it with someone who needs it, because that is what we do. And remember, just because I've said this advice doesn't mean you have to take it. You're the maker of your own decisions, but you must also be willing to deal with the consequences of your actions if there are any. Until next time, take care of yourself.